Good morning and welcome to another edition of Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. I'm Mark Nuce. Thanks so much for joining us today. With us on the program is from the BBB serving Central Ohio, the president and CEO, Kip Morse is here, and thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about scams. 'Tis the season. Well, it seems like it's always the season anymore for people to be scammed, but this time of year, everybody's thinking about their taxes, and there's a tax scam going around.
Yeah, the tax scam is really it's last year it was our number one scam that we were reporting. We had 24% of all the top 10 scams were for the tax scam, and so it is very timely for that right now, and it's everybody's getting hit pretty hard with it. You can't really go too long without hearing that one of your friends has gotten that nasty phone call.
Yeah, it happened here today. In fact, somebody told me about it. Well, tell us about what do they say when they call and try to scam you?
Well, this one's really kind of a scare tactic, and so they're calling, and they're imposters. They're calling to threaten you, suggest that you owe taxes, and that you need to pay those taxes immediately. They're going as far as saying that they're going to be coming out to your place to pick up a check. They need to receive it immediately, or you could be arrested.
And, of course, the IRS doesn't do that.
The IRS doesn't do that. They've got some good information on their website. We've got some great information on our website. We've got taxhelp.com, bbbtaxhelp.com. You can go there. You can find out a lot of good information just in terms of filing your taxes and some links to different information. But it'll give you a very specific idea of how that scam works for some people and how to stay away from it.
You know, some of us may look at that and say, well, I wouldn't fall for something like that. But if it's a vulnerable person or maybe an elderly person, they could easily fall for that.
Yeah, and we always say that, you have to look out for some other people. So if you have if your mother's elderly, your father's elderly, if they're living alone, and they're lonely, a lot of these scams work because of that. You see somebody that gets their mailbox is full, and it gets into those sweepstakes scams, and they're lonely and they're kind of reading through all this type of things, and then all of a sudden they get a phone call like that, and they're kind of in a panic state.
We're talking today with the president and CEO of the BBB serving Central Ohio, Kip Morse, and we're talking about scams and other issues dealing with consumers. And you say the tax scam is number one. Now, what are some of the others that people need to look out for?
Well, they're all falling under this category of imposters, at least the majority of them. The debt collection scam is very similar. You receive a phone call from someone claiming that you've got some unpaid debt, and so the same type of thing. They're trying to get personal identifiable information, and ultimately they're trying to get your bank information, and they're trying to either get you to give you that information or to get you to wire information or money to them. And they'll use a lot of different ways to try to accomplish that. But in no case should you be giving out any information to somebody that you're not familiar with.
Right. And there are also some other ones called tech support scam. I mean, that could be big for people who are on the computer and maybe new to the internet.
Yeah, and that one kind of goes across a lot of spectrums where you might have a problem with your computer, and it's caused by some malicious software. And so then they follow that up with a phone call and suggest that they can take care of things. And the same type of thing. They're usually trying to get passwords, sensitive information from you. They're trying to get you to be vulnerable and to be concerned about being able to access your information on the computer. And next thing you know, you're giving out information.
Well, I know it's been my experience in life, and probably yours too, that nobody just gives you money. So if someone's calling up saying that you've won a prize that you didn't apply for or didn't register for, or that you've won a lottery that you didn't buy a ticket for, there's something wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that kind of gets into the advanced fee loan scams, because in some cases where you may have sought information on the internet or advice as to how you might be able to get a loan, and then all of a sudden you're inundated with these offers for loans, and they want money up front. And so that's been a scam that's been going on for a long time. I've been with the BBB almost 25 years, and I remember talking about these 25 years ago. And so they're trying to get you to spend $500, $1,000 when they're approaching businesses. Sometimes it's $20,000 in order to get a huge loan. And next thing you know, you give the money up, you give personal information, and you never hear about them again.
Before we go on, Kip, why don't you give us the website address and phone number where people can get more information from the Better Business Bureau?
Yeah, so you can go to bbb.org is the easiest way, and then you can just put in that you want personal information relative to Central Ohio. We also have bbbtaxhelp.com, which, since we're talking about taxes, we've set up some different microsites like that. Right now, we've also got one if you're looking to get if you're going to be married soon. We've got a wedding help microsite that gives you all sorts of resources to good businesses and so forth. We also have a scam tracker off of that BUB.org site. And so all of these scams that we're talking about are listed on there, and you can actually see where individuals are being scammed. And then they put their information in there, so you can hear firsthand, this is what the phone call sounded like, this is what they offered, this is how they went about their scam. And it can kind of give you a good idea of, yeah, that's exactly what I experienced. And so by providing that information to us, we're then able to provide that information to law enforcement and a lot of the government agencies that are working hard to get this to stop.
Now, you have a tremendous amount of resources online that people can access. So when would you advise that someone take advantage of the bbb.org website when they're making a purchase, or what sort of life things should they check out before they give up their money?
Yeah, well, what we really hate to hear about is when somebody calls us and says, I should have checked with you first.
Yeah.
And because they come to us afterwards, and then all of a sudden they see maybe a company has an F rating, and they say, you know what, that's exactly the experience I had. And so, yeah, we want you to, if you're doing some research out there and you're on the internet and you're checking on companies, go to BBB, save that as a bookmark, and check out the company. If somebody comes to your door and they're making an offer and you're thinking, that's kind of enticing, they're going to do a discount rate because they're helping people out in my neighborhood, take a step back, do your research, tell them you'll get back in touch with them. If they're a home improvement company and the BBB doesn't have a file on that company, that should be concerning, because they know to get registered with us. And then if they're an accredited company, then we've done a thorough background check on them. We can kind of give you a good idea of how they would respond to complaints, how long they've been in business, and that type of thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I guess when somebody sees that BBB symbol on a company's website or in the phone book, what does that mean?
Well, on the website, it should be a dynamic seal. You can click through, and then you can go ahead and get their report. It means that we've done an evaluation of them and that they've met our standards of accreditation. Unfortunately, every month, maybe not every month, but almost every month, there's one or two companies that we have to expel from accreditation. There's also typically 2-3 companies a month that are trying to become accredited and they don't meet our standards. Mm-hmm. And so these are companies that, we check out the licensing, and we check out whether the company is being run by an individual that just closed up another company and is trying to set up shop under a new name. Those are the things consumers want to be aware of. They don't want to be caught off guard. If you know a company's been around and you know that, all right, they might get a complaint from time to time, but it's how they respond to that complaint. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with having some issues come up, but if they respond professionally and they've got the Better Business Bureau to work through, the consumer can work through us on mediation and arbitration to try to get a resolution acceptable to both parties.
Kip Morse is here, the president and CEO of the BBB serving Central Ohio. BBB.org is the website, easy to get to, and lots of resources for consumers. I know that probably through the years that I've been doing interviews with the BBB, Home improvement seems to be one of your major categories. Credit cards seem to be another category where people complain about. Let's take a look at both of those. Credit cards. What do people tend to have complaints about?
Well, typically, it's on both sides of kind of understanding what the offers are. So people are inundated with mailings and phone calls and direct mail pieces, and so really understanding what's behind those offers and whether these are offers that are coming from companies all over the country. And so you need to kind of understand a little bit more about that company. In the old days, it used to be you get a mailing and you know exactly who it is because it's a local company and you're familiar with them. Anymore, there's so many out there. And so, again, it's that checking with the BBB. What's the experience that we have with them? Are the consumers finding that what's being offered is not actually coming true? The fine print is going to be crucial because a lot of times people will jump on the offer in big print and then realize that, in a very short period of time, or if you don't make a payment to a credit card, that interest rate jumps back up, another 15 percentage points. And so those types of things we try to work with the consumers on. But again, checking ahead of time is the most important thing.
Is home improvement still a big category too?
I think it always will be. It'll be a big category both on the inquiry side, which is good because, again, consumers are checking with us first. We want to be the go-to resource on that. But it's also on the complaint side, and it's typically a big area where there's you've spent a fair amount of money and you've done a fair amount of research, and so if there is a problem down the road, then you want to have a resource to go to. And we've done mediations and arbitrations that are we did one that was upwards of $150,000 was the remodeling. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, and in that case they didn't really have a full written contract. Yeah. And so if you come to us ahead of time, we can give you an idea of these are maybe the 10 things you should think about going into a home improvement contract or project. And again, first and foremost is know who you're doing business with, and you can go to our site and you can click on different aspects of a home improvement project, and you can get accredited businesses and find out their background.
And of course, springtime's coming up. We've got storm season coming up, and a lot of people, they have a tree down in their house, or they've got some damage, and they're maybe panicked a little bit. I've got to get this fixed before it rains again, or something like that. And that's really a good time to check.
That's a great time to check, and I think what a lot of people don't realize is that in some of those instances, you do have companies that we used to call them the transient companies and or individuals, and you have to be leery of that. But we're in a world now where if we have a big storm, there's going to be some companies coming in from, say, Dayton or Cleveland or Akron. Because they know there's business down here. And so if we work together, we have one big database, 112 BBBs around the country, and we have access to everybody's information. And so we can know that, okay, that's a good company coming in from Dayton, that's okay. Or we can also know we don't have any record of that individual, and it doesn't look like they have proper licenses, and they're soliciting improperly and that type of thing.
Our guest on the program today is the president and CEO of the BBB serving Central Ohio, Kip Morse. And the website, again, is bbb.org. That's bbb.org. Lots and lots of information and resources online from the BBB. Let's get back to the scams a little bit because there are so many, and it's such a big part of what the BBB deals with all the time. What are some do's and don'ts for people on the phone when they get a call that they're suspicious about?
Don't stay on the phone. Most all of these, anymore, if they're trying to catch you at a vulnerable point, if they're trying to suggest that things are urgent, if they're trying to scare you, every one of the scams usually are associated with trying to get you to do something without thinking. Mm-hmm. And so they try to get you to make an emotional decision as opposed to really taking a step back. If you really want to research it and are concerned, start asking them questions. What's the name of your company? Who's the contact information? What's the phone number? What's the website? And then hang up. And then you can do your research. But don't stay on the phone. If you're leery of it, then they're not going to be contacting you by phone if it's a legitimate company that wants to get in touch with you. Just take the time to do the research.
And what about online? Are you getting more and more complaints about people getting scammed online?
Yeah, well, there's so much purchasing being done online, and a lot of times people think that's the easy way out, or you can go, you can shop a lot quicker and so forth. Well, you can also research a lot quicker. I mean, you can be online, you can see an offer, and you can research that, and then